attempts to create a secular, somewhat impartial society, which, while rather difficult to do in practice, I think is something that actually has to be kept up. And as the new issues arise, I think that we have to stay on top of them. Europe right now is struggling with the issue of Islamic attire, particularly Islamic attire for women, particularly that which covers their face. The burqa, or there's any number of names for this type of attire that basically renders a woman more or less invisible. Sometimes her eyes only are visible, and sometimes even that is not visible at all. France, I think, today just refused to grant citizenship to someone on the grounds that he forced his wife to wear the burqa or something similar to it. Now, I have to say, on a legal, on a point of legality, on a point of secularism, I fully support the French government on this. I generally, sort of, as I say, I stay kind of as neutral as possible in terms of politics as I can. But I am kind of I guess I call myself a soft-pedaling hardliner when it comes to secularism. Personally, I think that people should be able to wear whatever they like, whenever they like, wherever they go. If someone wants to wear a turban or a yarmulke or a bishop's, whatever it's called, I think it's a mitre or something like that, or want to wear a cross around your neck or whatever, that's your own business. It has nothing to do with me. And I think that generally, in most countries, that's the general consensus on it. If, however, you're walking around dressed in such a way where you're not easily identifiable should you commit a crime, well, I think a lot of people sort of say, well, this becomes an issue of public safety, and public safety is something that we have to maintain at all times. I live in kind of a rough city with a fair amount of, or higher than normal amount of violent crime for a city its size. And if you try and go into a 7-Eleven or a gas station wearing a balaclava, no, you're not going to get in there. They will, if you walk into a shopping mall, the security guards will ask you right then and there, take that off or you'll have to leave. So yes, I'm afraid that I agree that the burqa could actually pose an actual security threat, and it kind of is, if you ask me, a symbol of the subjugation of women. Now, I know that that's touchy because a lot of women that wear the burqa will say that they do it of their own free will, which is probably the case. But still, it's just the message that we're sending out is that women are subject to laws that men are not. Now, of course, that's always going to be that way. We're going to have separate bathrooms. Maybe that might eventually change as well. But right now, people would be shocked at the idea of having just one toilet that a lot of people are in at the same time. And any number of things where our society is sort of naturally segregated on various grounds. But when it comes to life and limb, when it comes to issues of security, and when it comes to issues of human rights, I think that the law should take a very strong and firm stance on it. Now, this does not, of course, lead me to say that women should not be permitted to wear the hijab or any kind of headscarf that they choose to wear. That's their own business. They can be identified. There are plenty of Muslim women who will tell you that they wear the hijab by choice, even though their husband might not think much of the idea. I actually personally know such a woman who wears it, even though her husband is kind of vaguely opposed to it. He thinks it's kind of primitive or whatever, but he's not going to stand in his wife's way of doing it. And there's plenty of other Muslim cultures where women are not expected to wear the hijab or wear even the equivalent of the hijab, or when they do wear it, they wear it in such a way that actually looks kind of sexy and feminine. If anyone has ever been to Tunisia, a lot of women who dress in a traditional Tunisian style tend to actually, their hijab is kind of like or I don't even know if it's called a hijab. It covers practically nothing. They've got their head more or less sort of covered, but their hair flows out. This is a terribly sexist thing to say, but women want to feel beautiful, and given a chance, they'll show off their looks. Sorry, feminists, I don't mean that in a nasty way. And Tunisian women, being good Muslims, have struck a good balance between being socially conservative and wanting to be women. So I don't really think that there's anything inherently bad about religious attire, even women's religious attire. I don't, that's an issue of personal preference. But safety and the potential for these things to be used as a bludgeon against women, I have to draw the line there. And so the law has to deal with these things. This issue has to be addressed one way or another. And I am 100% for the absolute and total separation of church and state. So if the state has to make a ruling on anything, I would say that they must come down on the side of secularism, on the total separation of church and state. And if there is a clash between the two, in as much as I still completely support freedom of religion, I'm sorry, this is one of those issues where one simply has to put one's chips down, and I put my chips down totally on the side of the secular state. And in this one, I'm afraid that I think the French have got it right. Thank you.